hope you're enjoying my dad's videos. Make sure to share this video with family and friends, like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.
Hi guys, we're getting a lot of questions at the moment asking where to buy silver or gold, and of course there are many places in which you could, and this is not an endorsement, but we tend to use bullionbypost.com. They've got a wide range of gold and silver, and if you put in the code that we've listed here below, you'll get a 1 ounce silver coin on any order over £250. Very nice. Just in case our channel ever gets taken down from YouTube, which there's a possibility because we are challenging a number of things. If you go to my website, drcharlieward.co.uk, and register there, we'll keep you in touch as to what's going on. And please, as Justin always says, remember to subscribe and like and share with friends so that we can get the message out there. It's very important through a difficult time to get the truth out in a world that is not very true. And just remember, Jesus loves you, even if everybody else thinks you're a twat. Well, there we go. Hi guys, and today I've got Ron Steele with me. Welcome, Ron.
Hey, Charlie, so good to make your acquaintance.
You too, and you're over in Texas?
Absolutely. I'm good. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon here. What time is it where you are?
I think it's coming up for 9 o'clock here. Yeah, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock at night, so
all right.
We're 7 hours ahead of you.
Well, I've got a lot of good material I hope the people will enjoy. I want to do, because I'm a showman, I don't know. I've got a little bit of show and tell. Can I do a little bit of show and tell?
Yeah, no problem at all.
Okay. I want everybody to go jump on the Trump train.
Oh, that's cool.
Can you see that?
Yeah, that's cool. So good.
Hawthorne, I don't get a dime out of this. Hawthorne Village is a collectibles designer, and they have created a 3-part train, the Trump train, and include the track and the transformer. I haven't got them all. This is all I've got so far. But, you know, everybody was always jumping on the Trump train, and I thought that was pretty cool. And so I don't know if people can see that or not. Anyway, yeah. It's Hawthorne Village. It's through the Bradford Exchange. Their website is bradfordexchange.com/Trump train. If anybody has an interest, I just thought that was fun. I enjoyed it. And even though I'm from Texas, I got my New York license plate here.
Well, he's doing an amazing job, isn't he?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And for some reason, you know, I've got thousands of people, not like you do, because I wasn't interested in setting this up. And it ultimately ended up that a lot of people were coming to me. I said, okay, I guess I'll tell you a little bit of what I know. And so that's how I ended up doing my Twitter site. I still don't have any interest in doing YouTube. But like I said, I used to act, and I still do. I've still got live commercials going on right now in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. But once upon a time, I was actually involved. You remember the movie JFK?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know if that'll show or not. It's not going to show. Well, yeah. Anyway, if you, it's got like
all the history.
Well, not just the history. This is live reenactment on the site where it all took place there in Dallas, and these are either the original, like in that light blue Lincoln, or the limousine. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
There. Anyway, the presidential limousine, you know, he had that custom made for himself, JFK did. And unfortunately, it was a convertible. But that is a replica. It's in a museum, and it's that some investor owns. Anyway, so I had fun making that. And are you familiar with the story between Reagan and Lee Wanta?
I'm not, no.
Okay, well, here's his book, Wanta, Black Swan, White Hat. Wanta, this guy, where is he? Right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. He was an ambassador for Reagan in the 80s, and he was actually responsible for taking down Russia, and he did it by breaking their economy with their money. And if you want the whole story, there it is. And the reason I include that is because one of the people that I'm going to be referring to throughout our talk today worked with him, and they finally parted company because the fellow that I'm involved with wanted total transparency of the finances, and Wanta wasn't willing to do that, and so they parted company. But anyway, that story, if people are interested, called Wanta, the Black Swan, White Hat by Lee Wanta, is, I mean, it's amazing what went on in the Reagan administration.
I think we're all learning. It's amazing what's going on behind the scenes that we had no idea about. That's something that I've certainly started to appreciate.
So if you love movies, I've got probably 800 movies in my library. I've got a few here. I call them the movies that could have been better, actually. Now this one's probably the best of the ones I'm going to show you. Death of a Nation. Are you familiar with that, by Dinesh D'Souza? It's actually called Can We Save America a Second Time? It came out shortly after Trump got in office, and you see the relationship there between Trump and Lincoln.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's very honest. I think he could have been more honest, but he tells a really good story. The Pearl Harbor, the story they leave out in that one, wonderful movie, extremely well done. But my information is that the president did know, he had intelligence in advance. He knew the Japanese were coming, and the country was in economic slump at the time. He knew that a war would get us more economically stable. The word I have is he let them come in because he wanted an excuse to get into the war. Mm-hmm. World Trade Center, entertaining, not necessarily enjoyable at all, but could have been a lot more straightforward than it was. Again, I believe it was made by the same fellow that did JFK, and he always stops short of telling the whole story, and maybe because he's not allowed to. I'm gonna skip that one. Wolf of Wall Street, gracious sakes, there's been a lot of good ones done on that of the crisis that we were put into by crooks in Wall Street. When they were giving away credit, I remember that when it happened, and I told my wife at the time, I said, hey, we could go get one of these big fancy homes. And I said, I think we can get it. I said, I'm not sure we could ever pay for it, but I said, we can get it. And that's how, how easily they were giving away credit at the time. Another one that didn't quite go all the way was killing Kennedy, the Manchurian Candidate. And I think y'all touched on the Manchurian candidates before. I'm pretty sure Obama was one. The company, y'all familiar with who that is, and it stopped short. I meant to have another one that Tom Cruise did, where he was flying money over and picking up drugs and bringing them back for the company. We're the only government I know that is both in the drug business and fighting the drug business simultaneously.
This has become very, very clear over the last 50 years and maybe even more, but certainly for 50 years, because I've spoken to many, many ex-CIA agents who left the CIA because that's exactly what they were doing. They were taking cash from America, gold from America, over to the Far East and bringing back heroin and hashish.
Yeah.
It continued right up until Trump took control.
Well, it baffles me. I mean, if any if the media was on Trump's side, they wouldn't even need to vote.
No, exactly right. Exactly right. Having said that, even with the media against him, he'll still win by 90%.
One that the Bushes were involved in, most every other president except for Carter, I think, prior to Trump, was, you're raised to be elite from the very beginning. And these skulls operations, every president except I think Carter and Trump were all in the skulls in those colleges. My last one is I'm a big superhero fan. I don't know if you saw Black Panther or not.
I must admit, I'm probably the world's worst when it comes to movies. I hardly watch any, if any.
Okay. Well, I won't go into the story of Black Panther, but the thing is, it's set in Africa. They come over to the U.S. and I won't go into all that. That part's not relevant. What is relevant is at the very end of the movie, I don't want to spoil it, but the hero is standing in front of the United Nations, and he's explaining to the United Nations that Zimbabwe is about to become a world power. And he states that they have the most gold of any country in the world.
Yep.
And he said they are going to be a power force. Now, what we didn't know, and the movie ends there, what we didn't know was that there was 10 more minutes of movie filmed where he goes into the detail of exactly what's going to happen and how it's going to be done. And of course, guess what? Our powers that be knew about it and blocked it and had it cut from the film.
Wow.
Because he said, we're not ready for the public to know all that yet.
Sure. That's happening as we speak now. That is happening right now as we speak. Zimbabwe is going to have back what it's been robbed of for many, many years.
And then I know that you're Christian spiritually. I know your background, and I'm so sorry that you were taken advantage of like that. I was raised in a very strict Christian home myself, so I still have a strong spiritual. Matter of fact, I'm a licensed minister, but so I keep up with things that are going on. I don't know if y'all can see this, but I'll read it to you real quick because you probably figured out by now I'm ADD, and if I don't keep on a track, I get off. But can that I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, I'll just read it to you. Today would be another major satanic holiday entitled, this is Sunday, September 20th, 2020. Another major satanic holiday entitled Midnight Host Blood Celebration, where local satanic covens would be torturing, raping, and killing children. Beware of possible satanic activities in your neighborhood and help save the children by reporting suspicious activities to the police. And then between Thursday, October 29th and Sunday, November 1st, of course, we celebrate that as a party. It's Halloween. I mean, I decorate my yard for the kids. I give out stuff. I'm in costume. I go to parties. It's an excuse for me to have fun. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, it's based in true Satanism. And this period, October 29 to Sunday, November 1st, is All Hallows Eve blood sacrifice, sexual climax association with demons, any age, human male or female, was the most important satanic human sacrifice holiday of the year. Children were not only kidnapped and forced to participate, but were tortured, raped, and killed over the 3-day celebration. Be aware of satanic activities in your community and help save the children by reporting suspicious activities to police. So I hope people will be alert to that.
Well, all right. So too. Yeah. No, we're living in an amazing time right now. We're in a huge time of change, and big things are happening behind the scenes. And what's amazing is Trump was obviously selected to do this. He's the front man for it, but he has a huge team behind him that have planned this out so carefully. I don't think most people in the world have any idea what we're going through right now. They see the virus, they see the vaccine, they see the 5G, they see the riots, they see all these things, but they don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They know something doesn't add up. But as you know, I had privy to information, and I still have information coming through to me from very, very good sources, and I verify it with spiritual leaders around the world. Because the one thing I've questioned a couple of times, can I trust the people who are giving me the information? And that's a very important point that I have to make. Can I trust the people that are telling me? Well, I'm getting the information from three or four different sources, and I'm taking it inside me, and I'm asking God to help me deliver that in a correct manner. And he's guiding me on what I'm doing. And I'm speaking to a lot of spiritual leaders around the world and spiritualists who are confirming what's happening. And it's very interesting because I was unaware of the significance so much of the timing of what's happening at this moment, because that's been predicted biblically for a very long time. What's happening at the moment is biblical.
Oh yeah, it's part of that. I don't know if you take the years literally or figuratively, but this. I think we're entering that 7-year Jubilee period.
Yep.
Now I'm a little worried about the part they talk about later, because there are those that prophesy about China and Russia coming back in against Israel at a later date. It looks like right now that all of that we're going to be at complete peace, which that's prophesied also.
That's right.
I'm just not sure about the part after that. I won't be here by then anyway, probably.
But I really believe, based on the information that I've got, that that's the world we're moving into. And because of what I do behind the scenes, I know that Trump is working very closely with Russia and with China and with India, very, very closely. That's not to say that he's working closely with the deep state and the cabals in those countries. He's working with the leaders. Right.
Yeah.
Working with Putin. But you have to understand a lot of Putin's people around him are deep state operatives and cabal operatives, and the same in China. In China, Chairman Xi is a standalone. The entire government around him has been removed. The Communist Party has been removed, and it's being replaced as we speak with good people that will
the new baby republic.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And the same with India. Modi is getting the right people in place, getting the wrong people out of place. And the other thing that is very, very clear right now is previous administrations in America forced regime change by going in militarily and removing people, which was
taking the money while they were at it.
Well, yeah, which was a big, big mistake, and the Americans didn't like it, the Iraqis didn't like it, the Afghans didn't like it, the Syrians didn't like it, nobody liked it. So what he's doing this time is, this time he's never been involved in it. He's creating peace. And not only that, but he's exposing in every single country around the world what's evil. And then it's for the people of that country to stand up against what's evil. Because he's not going to come in and get rid of it. You have to get rid of it yourself there. And you have it in the States, in different states where you've got evil people running states, and he's exposing them. He's exposing what they're up to.
Who was vice president when Bush Jr. was? We used to call him Shrub. We had Bush, who was senior daddy, and then we had Shrub.
Yeah.
But anyway, Cheney, right? Was vice president when Shrub was in. And there's all kinds of stories, but the one that I was told from my sources was that Cheney actually got the law changed 2 weeks prior to 9/11 that took away the power from our American generals to control combat against any source coming into our country, whether it be air, land, sea, or whatever. And so he got himself to be in charge of that, Cheney did. And so because of that one thing, when the flights were coming in toward the towers, it was on the radar. They knew it. They were scrambling, trying to get somebody up there to deal with it. And Cheney blocked it every single time. They called like 3 times, and he blocked it. He blocked it. He blocked it. They called the last time, and they said, if you don't do it now, it's hopeless. And he said, go ahead, because he knew it was too late then.
Yeah.
And they scrambled them, but by the time they got up there, it was too late. And, that's why when you know, they bent down and told Shrub, and he's in that little classroom, about what happened. You see the look on his face. He doesn't look surprised at all.
Not at all. He knew exactly what had happened. And I tell
And
you what, if he didn't know, and that had just been told him for real, he'd have hopped straight up and run straight out. But,
well, my word was NESARA was supposed to be announced on 9/11.
right, it was.
My kids were supposed to grow up wealthy, and they didn't. And I feel so angered by that, because I know what they went through. We had some great years and we had some bad years. Yeah. And it just angers me, because I know what I had planned for them.
Look, we're in the process now where we're coming to that stage. And one thing is for certain, that Trump is making sure there's no mistakes this time, because there's been, I know they've been teasing me with dates, because what they're doing is they're poking to see who sticks their head up, who tries to hijack it, because they're desperate to hijack it. Mm-hmm. Basically takes away all their power.
And I tell people, I said, you know, listen to the meat of the content, because I've had people question what I said. I said, don't pay attention to the dates. I said, those are thrown out there for, you know, for the deep state to bite on. That's and right. I said, oh yeah. I said, do you think anybody pays attention to the sources you're involved with? Oh. I said, yes, actually they do listen.
Exactly.
And so that, but the meat of what's being told. So, I mean, like I've heard anything from now till the end of the year to the early part of next year, as far as all this rolling out, and I don't know which one's right. I mean, it always looks like it's tomorrow, but it never is.
You can be assured that the timing will be absolutely spot on right. You can be assured of that.
We do know Iraq is making great strides with their new prime minister, as far as picking out all the Iranian influence in the government over there.
Yeah.
And so he did it all in what, 48 hours or less.
Yep.
And of course now he's got a lot of new enemies, but we're basically Trumperizing the world.
Well, he's at the forefront definitely, but I think God has his hand on him and is guiding him, because to look as well as he does after 3.5 years in office, he looks younger than when he started. So somebody's looking after him, and the only person that can make you look that much younger is God, I think.
Yeah, and I remember Obama was gray before the end of his.
Yeah, well, he was a naughty boy.
And Trump, you know, he's like, I know Santa gives that mention that she thinks everything is a sign, and maybe it is. I know the ties are, but you know, the hair went from golden blonde, and then it was talking about gold and silver for a while, and then his hair went silver, and then it went back gold again.
Yeah, he couldn't make it up.
But I had some news for folks that related to a lot of what you have been addressing, and I just wanted to add a little bit to that, if I could. Is that okay, regarding this new quantum system?
Sorry?
I said I just wanted to relate a little a different slant on some of the QFS, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
All right, folks. Well, first of all, this is all based on the cross-border interbank payment system. That's called CIPS, C-I-P-S.
Yep,
and
correct.
Inside CIPS is the QFS.
Yep. And
CIPS is an artificial intelligence private network, a virtual private network. It's a QFS 3D smartphone and digital currency that you'll be able to operate on any media format. I'm trying to get this right and be on camera and still talk to y'all. I don't want to get sidetracked. It provides a pristine, clean integrity in the movement of money of funds from central banking to destination accounts. We're going from banking to destination accounts, which is very, very big. It will cover a new global network for transfer of asset-backed funds and will replace the U.S. centrally controlled SWIFT system. This has not fully happened yet, but it will protect all parties from corruption, usury, and manipulation within the banking system that currently is happening. It will assure the banks are monitored and protected within the agreed upon contractual obligations with regard to the transfer of funds. Now, this is what was advocated in the Gold Treaty. And that's even back 20 years ago, they were saying that, you know, you're not going to get paid on the programs you're in until we have a new gold-backed dollar. And we got to get rid of all the bad guys. So they told us that 20 years ago. Mm-hmm. And here we are still trying to get there. Yeah. And so now is, to read that again, is what was advocated in the Gold Treaty, completely independent from the existing central banking system. It makes all other transfer systems obsolete. This is not a cryptocurrency. It is a system based on asset-backed digital currency. Mm-hmm. This security basis is based on a photonic technology that does, get this, 3.5 trillion frames, not bytes, per second.
That's correct.
This replaces the dynamic routing system that we currently have. It's a true physical GPS authentication between the sender and receiver. The artificial intelligence that controls this will control the transfers and independently controls the global network. The AI program will handle instant settlements, mm-hmm. real time in seconds. Mm-hmm. And we know that because we know of a fellow that did a transfer recently, within the last couple of weeks ago, actually, that it was landed in 5 seconds as opposed to like 24 or 48 hours.
That's correct.
So we know it's operational. It's just not fully.
No, we're transiting from one to the other.
Exactly. Okay. And so the AI controls this, will control the transfers and independently controls the global network. The AI program will handle instant settlements, real time in seconds. It assigns a digital number to each fiat dollar, fiat euro, and fiat yen or won that currently exist in every bank account all over the world. Correct. The digital numbers are monitored in real time. Yeah. The physical GPS location between the sender and the receiver will be set up to provide an unbreakable security in regard to who sent it and who received it. This is very important. The sovereign currency of the U.S., the Republic of the U.S., is the USN, the United States note. This is the gold. This is in the Gold Treaty, and also given to my contact by Interpol back in 2014. Now, the artificial intelligence will be applied all across the QFS system. It will work with the CIPS system. Now, what's that, people? Were you listening? The cross-border interbank payment system in regard to language processing across the entire user base. This means the entire account holding base around the world. Everybody will be on it. One base. It will facilitate the adaptation and will evolve over time by recognizing the new behavior and recommending appropriate banking responses. You will actually be able to do your banking on your phone within the self-contained system. You can do your banking on your desktop, your mobile, or your handheld. The AI exchange, the Asset Chain Collection, or ACC, is a distributed general ledger. This new system will provide breakdowns inside the asset chain collection to maintain custody and control of that information. Asset standard tokens inside the ACC that will interchange between your currency, which is the US note, to the SDR, or special drawing rights, accounts that were developed under Bretton Woods. For example, if you took $10 of a US note to buy something in Russia, it will go from a $10 US note to a $10 SDR to a $10 Russian ruble. This will allow you to purchase all around the world. We are talking about parity of all currencies, and this is how they will do it. The cross-border interbank payment system virtual currency will be based around the QFS VPN and will be used for the purchase of goods and services all around the world. There will be 100 million coins minted in gold. There will be 100 million coins minted in silver. Once minted, there will never be more or fewer in existence. This is all around the world. Each CIPS coin has a virtual counterpart. So there's a real life coin and a duplicate in the system, which will keep track of it at all times. Each coin has a barcode for ownership and a GPS tracking code on the coin. This is gold-backed Basel 3, 4, and 5 coins. Under the US system, it's called a GSM, or a gold-silver measure. This is not made up and totally compliant with what we've been talking about with the gold treaty. There's no actual person in charge of this system. It is artificial intelligence. There will always be transparency, the pristine, clean integrity of all transactions. Now, when you go to your exchange, you'll be asked to set up your own security ID and new account. This is for currency owners that have, things such as the Rial, the Vietnamese Dong, the Iraqi Dinar, and even those that are taking the chance on the Zimbabwe dollars. And so when you go to your exchange, you will be asked to set up your own new security ID and new account. This new security ID will immediately debit your old fiat accounts at your bank and credit your new QFS account with the asset-backed funds on a one-to-one basis. This is not exchange ratios. This is about your old US federal fiat dollars going into new asset-backed funds, the US notes. You will be prompted to go to the next window. It's all on a computer, and your existing funds will show as an asset-backed funds as well as a ledger balance of asset-backed funds. So if you have $100 in your old fiat bank account, it will show you now have $100 in your new QFS system account. There will be no commingling of fiat and asset-backed funds. The QFS is running but not fully operational and will not be until the codes for the new gold-backed currency are entered by my contact. This new system is totally secure, totally under your control. No other person can access your accounts, and no banks. Banks will no longer be in control. So I know a lot of people, especially ones that never had a lot of money, which is the majority of us, they were real scared about the banks interfering, taking funds, and so forth. That won't be possible under this new system. And I got to admit, I had fear myself, because I know in the programs that were going on 20 years ago, those funds were transferred to all 6 major US banks, Charlie, and all 6 of them took hundreds of millions off the top. Each bank that had it. They all got caught, but did they care? Because the fine they paid was so much less than what they stole.
Sure.
And Wells Fargo is the last one to have been blessed with it, because there wasn't anybody else to go to. And they did it too. They just got caught sooner. So the banker is not your friend, folks. They're out there looking out for themselves, and you got to look out for yourself. But fortunately, we have this new system on our side now. So the QFS ends all the corruption which now exists. The QFS covers the world's transfer of asset-backed funds and works it via 24 GPS orbiting satellites protected by the new U.S. Space Force. The new QFS headquarters is located in Switch, Las Vegas. That's very interesting, because we'd always been told the new Treasury headquarters would be in Reno, which it is. I've had friends that have been in it. It would no longer be in DC, surrounded by all of the cabal and mafia and all those guys. In the Reno, Las Vegas area, there are 3 large military bases protecting the area. There were going to be, and probably now are, 56 data center units in the US, and there are 192 data centers planned for the world. Ultimately, there will be a US Note Ultimate Cloud system. The heritage funds are involved in the US Treasury. That's one of the other programs. The GCR will be within the QFS system. It will use a specific quantitative formula to establish the amount of currency available in any country that is gold-backed by the QFS. The formula will establish a fair value based on the country's assets. The price of gold will become irrelevant once this is all complete. Included in the formula are in-ground assets, its population as an asset, and other parameters. This formula will apply to each country so they can be on par with one another. This is the global currency reset. All currencies we reset at the same time. And I had, well, let's see here. All right, I'll give you a little bit more. Now, there will be no baskets. A lot of people, you know, because we always heard, and I heard that forever, that there were about 7 currencies in the first basket.
Yeah.
And now they're saying, no, there will be no baskets. All currencies go at the same time. It's one shot. It has to. No fiat currencies will exist in the QFS system.
Right.
This formula is already in existence. That's why the deep state is fighting this so hard.
Yep.
Once this is all in place, they can no longer steal from the public. They can no longer do financial scams or Ponzi schemes or sell drugs. There will be no corruption, period. Any country not GESARA compliant will be left out of the QFS and eventually left out of all international trade. The video that Charlie and I both posted recaps everything that's been said for years from Interpol, the White Dragons, and other sources, and very pleased that Charlie posted this as well. You can go see it on his YouTube or my Twitter account, which is Patriot Rod Steele. It's down a ways, but you'll find it. And be sure to download and watch it yourself. It does give a good idea on what's going on and what we're looking for. I still think we will have some martial law and bigger arrests that are still coming. This whole thing starts after the elections so that the deep state, cabal, Illuminati, mafia, evildoers, as Bush or Shrub used to say, and he was one of them. The whole thing starts after that. Also, we want to recap the gold treaty was signed on March 21st, 2013. In these protocols, it advocates and commands that the team visits my contact with the codes to release the gold for the new Republic Treasury of the United States. At that moment, all fiat currencies will go to zero. We will have a turn in time of about 30 to 60 days at a 1-to-1 ratio. Also, all derivatives will go away, completely wiped out. At this point, we will go into a worldwide debt jubilee. The treaty itself will provide the gold bullion that will back all the currencies of the world for parity of the currencies with no more petrodollar involvement. The gold will not be released until the U.S. corporation is dead. This also happens immediately when my contact submits those codes.
Mm-hmm.
And I could go on, but you're probably bored. And
that is such incredible information, because the audience that we have, Ron, that will join up so many dots for people. Jack Kidd and myself have done a couple of videos on NESARA and GESARA and the global financial reset, but that's given it some really good clarity there as to what's happening, and we're very, very nearly there.
Well, I did have, now this is over about 3 weeks ago, so it could be a little bit out of date, but over the past 3 weeks, 97 of the top 100 central banks have been in the process of becoming fully functional on the QFS RTGS instant settlement system.
Yeah.
There were 82 smaller central banks that also would be connected. There were a total of 179 central banks listed by the Bank of International Settlements, with about 80 more when counting regional monetary authorities among the 209 countries all being connected. The list of federal banks was according to region. The federal branches were serving as extensions of the U.S. Treasury. They would monitor M1 and M2 money flow and supply for the U.S. Treasury under the QFS system, so there are no distortions. Yep. Inflation could no longer ease distortions, though market supply and demand and interest rate policy, as in the past, under the cabal central bank system. And I've actually got a list of all the major federal banks that are involved in what percentage and how much money they've got. Number one, as you and I discussed privately, is the Royal Bank of Zimbabwe. We're talking, Charlie, I can't even put the zeros on this.
No, I know.
835 quadrillion.
Yeah.
That's 13 metric tons of in-ground gold estimated to yield 14 billion per year. by RBZ going forward through the Central Bank of Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
And then it goes on, Bank of Japan, Bank of China, Deutsche, Bundesbank, Bank of France, Bank of Italy, Swiss National Bank, Bank of Spain. You're number 8 with, let's see, 100,000 million, 861.5 billion in the Central Bank of Europe through the Bank of Spain. And it goes on, Brazil, England. I'll just rattle off some of them off here. Reserve Bank of India, European Central Bank, Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, Central Bank of China, Bank of Korea, Central Bank of Russia, Netherlands Bank, Monetary Authority of Singapore, Central Bank of Luxembourg, National View of Belgium, Bank of Mexico, Bank of Portugal, National Bank of the Republic of Austria, Bank of Thailand, Bank of Indonesia, Central Bank of Argentina, the Czech National Bank, Central Bank of Lebanon, Central Bank of the Republic of Turkey, Reserve Bank of Australia, National Bank of Poland, Bank of Israel, Bank of Greece, Central Bank of Ireland, Bank Negara, Malaysia, Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates, Bank of Canada, Central Bank of Iraq, Central Bank of the Philippines, Central Bank of Nigeria, Central Reserve Bank of Peru, the Norges Bank and Central Bank of Europe, the National Bank of Denmark, the Qatar Central Bank, I can't even pronounce this one, Severes Riksbank in the Central Bank of Europe, the National Bank of Slovakia, the Bank of Republic Colombia, South African Reserve Bank, Central Bank of Egypt, the Central Bank of Chile, the Central Bank of the Republic of Uzbekistan, the Central Bank of Hungary, Bangladesh Bank, National Bank of Ukraine, National Bank of Serbia, Central Bank of Kuwait, Bank Al Maghrib through the Central Bank of Africa, Monetary Authority of Macau through the Central Bank of Asia, the National Bank of Angola through the Central Bank of Africa, the Bulgarian National Bank, the Bank of Lithuania through the Central Bank of Europe, the Croatian National Bank, the Bank of Guatemala, the Bank of Latvia, the Central Bank of Cyprus, the Central Bank of the Dominican Republic, the Central Bank of the Oman View through the Total Asset Central Bank of the Middle East, Central Bank of Bolivia, again through the Total Asset Central Bank of Latin America, the Bank of Slovenia through the Central Bank of Europe, the Central Bank of Uruguay through the Central Bank in Latin America, the Central Bank of New Zealand with the total assets through the Central Bank of Australia and Pacific, the Central Bank of Myanmar through the asset banks of Central Bank of Asia, the Central Bank of the Republic of Azerbaijan through the total assets of the Central Bank of Asia, the National Bank of the Republic of Belarus, again through the Central Bank of Europe, the Central Bank of Malta through the Bank of Europe, Central Bank of Sri Lanka through the Central Bank of Asia, the Bank of Finland through the Bank of Europe, the Bank of Estonia through the Central Bank of Europe, the Central Bank of Turkmenistan through the Central Bank of Asia, the Central Bank of Costa Rica, the Central Bank of Nepal through the Central Bank of Asia, and Costa Rica through the Central Bank of Latin America, the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago through the Central Bank of North America, the Central Bank of Kenya through the Central Bank of Africa, the Central Bank of Venezuela through the Asset Central Bank of Latin America, the Bank of Afghanistan through the Central Bank of Asia, Central Bank of Paraguay through the Central Bank of Latin America, the Central Bank of Bosnia and Herzegovina through the Central Bank of Europe, the Central Bank of Bahrain through the Central Bank of the Middle East, the Central Bank of Iceland through the Central Bank of Europe, the Central Reserve Bank of El Salvador through the Central Bank of Latin America, the Bank of Mongolia through the Central Bank of Asia, Bank of Mauritius through the Central Bank of Africa, the Bank of Zambia through the Central Bank of Africa, the Bank of Jamaica through the Central Bank of North America, the Bank of Uganda through the Central Bank of Africa, the Central Bank of Nicaragua through the Central Bank of Latin America, the Bank of Albania through the Central Bank of Europe, the National Bank of the Republic of Macedonia through the Asset Central Bank of Europe, the National Bank of Georgia through the Asset Bank of Central Bank of Asia, and the Monetary Authority of Brunei through Darussalam. And I have every one of those banks involved alphabetically, A to Z. The only reason I mention that is I've had people DMing me and go, Mr. Steele, can you tell me, is my country one of the 209? I don't have all 209, folks. I've got the first 100.
There's also a point there that it's not just countries, it's territories as well. There's a number of territories in the 209, because I forget how many countries there are in the world, but somebody pointed out that there's not 209 countries in the world, but there are there's countries and territories.
Okay.
So yeah, and for me, the interesting point was that the first country to sign up to the GESARA system was North Korea, because they'd lost all their enemies. Yeah, they'd lost all their allies.
Got nobody to turn to.
I think the last country was Lebanon.
Wow.
But no, they've all come into line right now. And the beautiful thing is as you rightly said, unless they stay in line, they'll be kicked out. And if they're kicked out, then that'll be the end of them. And also, as part of the agreement, you can't go to war against anybody and be a part of GESARA.
Isn't that wonderful?
That's absolutely amazing.
I mean, that's a godsend.
Well, this is the time we're moving into right now, which is absolutely wonderful. And it's just a shame more people aren't aware of what's actually happening right now. There's so many people that are fast asleep. They have no idea what's happening. They're panicking about the virus. They're panicking about the vaccine and the 5G. And this is all part of the smokescreen to cover up this global financial reset and the removing of the deep state and the cabal. And look, we're nearly there. And then
my own kids won't listen, Charlie. You know, I was talking to him yesterday, and he goes, "Dad, you're so absorbed in your right wing ultra conservatism, you don't even listen to reason." I said, "This is the reason."
Exactly. This is why I've tried to keep everything as close to fact as I possibly can, because everything I was told 6 years ago, 2 years ago, and then in November, December last year, so far, everything I was being told has happened. And I've got it inside me right now, Ron, I've got a massive orchestra wanting to shout out and say, "I told you so," but that's not going to achieve anything. That's not going to achieve anything. So it's just a question of waiting and just being humble about it and saying, we're getting there, and things are really happening now. And for me, it's just so exciting to see it happening.
Well, you know, we knew recently, a few weeks ago, within the last couple of months anyway, that they were testing the emergency broadcast system.
Yeah.
And it's just hard for me to fathom that our media is so corrupt that they wouldn't allow this news to come out on it. But of course, it's owned by the people that are responsible for the cabal. So I guess I get it.
Correct.
But my understanding is that was deliberately tested so Trump could make these announcements.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's what it was tested for.
And you know, I don't know. We're hearing that there's going to be another, you know, downswing before all the good is announced.
Another lockdown.
And so I don't know. My company that I work with, I've been in the financial service business since 1986, and I've been executive vice president for one. I was a regional vice president for an international one, and then I owned my own agency for a number of years. And it's just, they're talking about the people I work for now coming back to work at the office on January 4th. I actually got this job during the pandemic, and so I've never seen any of my bosses. I've never seen any of the people I interviewed with, which included one of the vice presidents of the company. And I think they think that we're going to go back to work at the office January 4th, which I hope I never do. You know, I'm thrilled working from home. It's an hour and a half drive through 7 different freeway interchanges to get to that office. It's almost in Dallas, and I'm in South Fort Worth.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be so bad if there wasn't traffic. But we're getting 10,000 new people every month just coming into Fort Worth alone.
Wow.
And a lot of them are coming from California.
Yeah. No, I get that. I get that.
If we don't get them, Florida does.
So, well, Ron, thank you so much for sharing that with us, because that was so informative. I mean, so much information in there, and such valuable information that I know our audience will really, really enjoy that. Thank you very, very much.
It's been an absolute thrill for me, Charlie. I've looked forward to this for a long time. I was scared we weren't going to get together because I didn't see the interview that said that Lee had changed the date. I go, I never saw it.
No, we got it together, and we got it together at the right time.
You've got my WhatsApp now, so
I have. We'll do it again,
because
because there's so much information that's valuable. But thank you very much, Ron.
It's been a pleasure. I do unfortunately have a family member that is having a funeral viewing this afternoon, and I need to try to get out there before they shut down. But I wish you Godspeed for you and your family.
Yeah.
I know, I'm sure there's bound to be some kind of, not only the interference of loss of time on your, I know the weekends are supposed to be for them, and unfortunately that's the only time I could do this.
Cool.
But at the same time, so there's a sacrifice, and you do that for your family, for the good of the people. I just hope they appreciate how much you do sacrifice. I don't think y'all know, folks, he records 4 or 5 shows a day. Lee keeps him hopping.
It's been fun. It's been very enjoyable. Just for as long as we can keep getting the truth out of it, then it's worthwhile. But thank you.
Well, it's been a thrill for me, and I look forward to hopefully maintaining that relationship in the future.
Definitely. Thank you.
Hi, it's Justin, and I hope you're enjoying my dad's videos. Make sure to share this video with family and friends, like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it, and just remember, Jesus loves you.